Nothing more than a well-meaning baboon. That's what the general of the Union Army called him. But every critic would soon be forced to eat their words, and in this short and legitimately time-sensitive video presentation, strange as it sounds, you'll learn how a magic trick performed by our 16th president all the way back in 1860 has dominoed into the present day, triggering an unprecedented power pact inside one of the most lucrative yet ignored financial markets in the world. Ordinary investors who've paid attention have already been rewarded with gains of 46.3%, 368%, and even 806.99%. Most shockingly, these gains are coming at a time when everyone is fed up with Wall Street being weighted in favor of the mega wealthy. The consensus on Main Street seems to be, if you want to get in early on the next big thing, keep dreaming. Wall Street's got the entire game rigged from start to finish. Or do they? Because very soon you'll understand why forces are combining to actually put a thumb on the scale in favor of regular investors, giving you the chance to consistently get first word on the fastest rising investments in the entire financial world. Investments that, unlike everything else under the sun, the big banks stand helpless to control and manipulate. Forbes.com labels these investments a thrilling ride, since they put within your grasp, perhaps for the first time ever, unlimited potential for double-digit and even triple-digit gains, not after years of holding and hoping, but in a head-spinning span of months, days, and even hours. In fact, fueled by the new power pack I'm about to expose today, I'm going to walk you through a fully documented trading timeline where you'll see how a crumpled up $5 bill over a series of just 9 trades could have sprouted into a mighty nest egg worth an amazing $1 million. Or to be more exact, $1,068,499.15. But before we go any further, I want you to know that I'm not about to try and sell you on the latest, greatest trading robot or even anything remotely like it. And I'm definitely not going to ask you to sign up to a high-cost training course that claims to teach the many intricacies of options trading, day trading, or foreign exchange. Because to take the actions I'm about to outline, you don't need to sit hogtied to your computer all day like a sweatshop worker. There's no jargon to make sense of, no expert knowledge to learn, and certainly no need for you to pay out the nose for any kind of unnecessary training. The investments I'm introducing you to today are available for you to buy and sell with a couple clicks of the mouse or a simple phone call. Moreover, if you're familiar with the old adage, buy low, sell high, then you already have the basics down pat. The question becomes, what can you buy low, then sell high? And if you suspect the answer might be big stocks, the type you hear about on TV again and again, let me offer some compelling reasons to reconsider. Research by Ibbotson Associates does show that had you invested $1,000 in big, large-cap stocks back in 1925, your $1,000 would today be worth $3 million. But that doesn't tell the full story. Because the same study showed that had you put your $1,000 into small-cap securities, you'd now be working out a way to spend not $3 million or even $5 million, but $16.1 million. Enough to buy your own private Caribbean island. And what's more, many investors who buy and sell these overlooked stocks on major exchanges like the NYSE and the NASDAQ are finding out that a bad economy is their new best friend. As many small companies collect most of their revenue from North America or Asia, they don't carry the same worldwide exposure risk as their bigger bloated counterparts. So, as economic chaos in Europe and elsewhere beats up the profits of multinationals, many small caps are escaping without a scratch. Plus, small, hungry companies continue to maximize their built-in innovation advantage. Inside big behemoth companies, even the best bright ideas get slowed to a standstill by endless red tape and bureaucracy. Whereas the flatter and freer organizational structures enjoyed by smaller operations allows them to shift direction on a dime, letting them develop and unleash breakthrough products, services, and technologies at both low cost and high speed. This explains why, as the S&P 500, the index that tracks big-name stocks, has gained a measly 2% since 2001, the S&P 600, that tracks small-cap stocks, has shot up a whopping 115%, powering through crisis after crisis to more than double your money. Proof that in a recession like we're in now, the heroes who rush to your rescue can be total unknowns. I'm talking about companies hovering well beneath Wall Street's radar, primed to imitate the meteoric rises of stock market superstars like Walmart, Intel, and Google. These are household names today, but not so long ago they would have drawn a blank. And that's exactly when clued-in investors swooped down and snatched them up for literally pennies on the dollar, securing themselves the luxury of never having to worry about how to pay their bills ever again. Of course, nowadays, the windows of opportunity that were once open to cash in big on these and other blue-chip giants, they're superglued shut, likely to never be opened again. Today, to snag yourself a ticket to monster gains, you have to make sure you catch a ride on the next bullet train barreling down the tracks, poised to become one of tomorrow's wealth-making juggernauts. Companies like GRO, a Chinese agricultural firm that scored my readers a 175.7% return in only 26 days. Or ABOT, the South American star of a surprise gold rally who could have handed you a 53.8% return in only 4 short days. Or UPZS, a restaurant operator hiding from Wall Street's gaze in a sleepy hamlet of western Pennsylvania. In 3 breathless days, they delivered my subscribers a 176.2% ROI. In my experience, there's only one thing that matches the adrenaline surge you get when you ride the back of a triple-digit Godzilla, and that's the numbness that floods your veins when you discover you're late to the party. Let me introduce myself. My name is Michael Astor, and I'm part of an extraordinary team of 2 that I'll tell you more about in just a minute. Together, we're on a mission to never let opportunity slip through your fingers again. Separately, we've proven for years that we can deliver first word on a large percentage of high-growth winners. But as a team, for reasons that'll become crystal clear, we feel like we're the investing equivalent of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, taking you with us as we make a giant leap into unmapped territory.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
A whole new world where you get a priceless heads up whenever the next Microsoft, Cisco, or Dell is ready to blast into orbit, possibly whisking you and your loved ones on the ride of a lifetime. However, let's drop back to Earth for a moment, because you should know that I wasn't always in a position to help regular Americans get ahead. When I first tried locating little companies about to hit the big time, I came upon the same roadblock as everyone else. It's the reason why the Wall Street Journal rightly warns their readers, be cautious about penny stocks. And after 15 years of poring over balance sheets, searching for diamonds in the rough, I'll actually go even further than that. Many more times than not, if a stock is selling for peanuts, it just means it's a worthless dud. Plain and simple. And unless someone has a clear track record of consistently separating the wheat from the chaff, my advice is to run, don't walk. But here's where I have a confession to make. 5 years ago, I had no track record to speak of. I was struggling like everyone else to locate stocks ready to shoot skywards. I wasn't even close to perfecting what I now call my 8-step X-ray evaluation formula. These days, it lets me apply a cold, calculating, and downright ruthless analysis to any company's financials, allowing me to search through the giant small-cap trash heap to quickly find the buried treasure underneath. It took me years to finally get my head around the finer points of earnings statements, chart patterns, PE ratios, and the like. But eventually, I came to see how they intertwine to tell the story of a stock. In the same way that the double helix of human DNA can tell a doctor the hidden truth of a patient's underlying health. When this all clicked for me, I started connecting bat on ball a whole lot more. A few of my picks even flew out of the park. A commercial lighting outfit jumped 362.67%. A medical supply company trampolined 47.78%. A GPS technology company even found their way to a 566.67% gain. This personal breakthrough happened around the first time I encountered Frank, a guy that anyone looking to flip their financial fortunes for the better really needs to know. Frank and I were both members of the most popular stock picking website on the internet. So you knew who to trust. Members collectively assigned each other a star grade based on the success of their picks. And Frank, well, he was the unanimous MVP. The quality of his stock selections earned him a perfect 5-star rating, the most of anyone. And each time I'm asked, I openly admit it. His success revved my competitive streak into high gear. So, as I began to grasp the science of successful stock picking, I began to slowly eke my own way up the standings. Until finally, one day, there we stood, neck and neck, on top of the mountain together. And fast forward to just a few months ago, and we were still facing off week after week, vying for the unofficial title of top penny picker on the planet. The only difference being we graduated from picking stocks on public websites to heading up dueling private subscriber services. Bitter rivals who never dreamt for a second that they'd ever wear matching jerseys. But now, that's exactly what we're doing. So, why are we linking arms? Well, you can trace our inspiration back to 1860 and to what's widely regarded as the greatest presidential magic trick of all time. America was staring into the abyss of being ripped apart forever after years of bloody civil war. But that's when a newly elected Abraham Lincoln made a pivotal decision no new president had dared make before. Lincoln asked his fiercest political adversaries to serve in his cabinet and help unite a country at war with itself, forming what's come to be known as his team of rivals. You could easily call it America's first ever dream team, where feuds, egos, and petty differences were put aside for the greater good. And Frank and I certainly go about our business in our own unique ways. Me, I'm content to crunch the numbers at home and keep my privacy. But not Frank. His people skills are his ace in the hole. Before making a pick, he insists on packing up his suitcase and paying them a visit. He's been likened to an impossible-to-impress restaurant critic, using the element of surprise to his unique advantage. Without giving anyone time to stage an elaborate dog and pony show, he shows up almost unannounced with a list of questions as long as his arm. The purpose being to dig beneath press releases and blurbs and brochures and instead take the true pulse of an operation from the shop floor up. For instance, when self-confessed power nerds in Mercer County, New Jersey, boasted they could create cheap, renewable electric power, Frank knocked on their door determined to sort fact from fiction. His verdict? This brash startup had every reason to be confident, and if you were one of his subscribers, this pick alone could have scored you a fast 135.29% gain on your money. But no description of Frank would be complete without a word about his well-trained eye for finding money in precious metals. As gold and silver have rallied like never before, he's rolled up his sleeves, donned a hard hat, and visited mining sites in person, taking pains to separate fool's gold from the real thing, and delivering his overjoyed subscribers gains of 196%, 368%, 606%, and more. When I broached enemy lines to pitch Frank on joining forces, I expected a frosty reception, but he instantly saw the big picture. Any kinks in either of our armors would instantly be hammered out by the other. My 8-step X-ray evaluation formula would provide a proven analytical framework to complement Frank's patented boots-on-the-ground approach. And vice versa. Frank would add a priceless human component to ratchet up the power of my stock market science, making two minds outrageously more powerful than one, and effectively doubling our odds of finding every needle in every haystack, meaning monster picks are much less likely to fall between the cracks. No opportunities are lost. Every single bullet train that shakes the ground beneath our feet, our subscribers are on it. Every new technology trend, every new commodity bubble, our subscribers know about it before their neighbors. The beneficiaries of a surprise alliance that no one in the stock picking world ever saw coming. Now, naturally, profits always speak louder than words. So, let's quickly back up all this dream team talk by showing you what I promised earlier. a real timeline of real picks that could theoretically snowball $5 lousy into more than $1 million. Before we begin, I want to be clear that the odds of you making anything close to this kind of instant retirement money from joining our private subscriber family are incredibly low. You'd not only have to roll over all your profits from one trade to the next, you'd also have to buy each of these stocks at their lowest price and then cash out at their very highest. So, it's fair to say the chances of this perfect storm occurring for you are slim, and in no way do I want you to think otherwise. Of course, that's not to say it's impossible, and that it couldn't happen to someone. So why walk you through this hypothetical scenario? Well, since these trades are actual documented picks made by Frank and myself, in chronological order, it's the most dramatic way I know to showcase the potency of our combined efforts. So, let's see what kind of ride this little $5 bill can take us on. First, let's use it to buy shares in IOGH, an upstart oil and gas company. They figured out how to profitably convert their waste products into plastics and other supplies for the petrochemical industry. Woefully undervalued, this stock sat at only 2 cents per share. Of course, at that giveaway price, the upside potential is enormous, and if the trade does go south, because you're so close to zero, your downside risk is extremely limited. But make no mistake, this stock took off like a rocket, storming to 25 cents as more and more investors saw the potential for profits. The result? A 1,150% gain, and right out of the gate, your $5 is now $62.50. But that's about to multiply eightfold. Because let's invest that $62.50 into shares of EXK, a cash-rich Canadian silver miner Frank spotted and rightly fell in love with, allowing you to play a silver rally for a monstrous gain of 689.2%. Now, your $62.50 is suddenly $484.70. You started out with enough in your pocket to buy a venti Starbucks coffee. Then you had enough to take your wife out for a nice meal. And now you've got cash on hand to snatch up a 32-inch flat screen. And speaking of the boob tube, let's use that $484.70 to grab shares in HNHI, a company revolutionizing the way products are sold via TV infomercials. A down economy has been a boom to the infomercial biz, lowering the cost of airtime and increasing viewership. Projected industry revenues are even expected to reach $252.3 billion by 2015. So it was no surprise to us when this tiny stock, snubbed by the banking giants on Wall Street, catapulted 1,580%, multiplying your $484.70 into $8,142.96. For most people, that's their mortgage or rent covered for 6 months or more. But why stop wanting more? Because we're going to roll that into YESD, a direct-to-consumer marketing company that spiked 3 cents in 3 days to secure a 93% return, turning your $8,142.96 into $15,776.95. That could book you a luxury cabin on an around-the-world cruise, but for our purposes today, let's put that money into another real pick. NPWZ, a forward-thinking tech company in Bothell, Washington, who designs and distributes green fuel cartridges that power notebook PCs and military radios. Priced at 0.7 cents, my X-ray evaluation formula told me it was a screaming bargain if there ever was one. And you got to watch the price soar to 2.6 cents, securing a gain of 271.4%. Turning your $15,776.95 into $58,600.10. Enough to pay for any car on the lot, in cash. Only let's see what happens when we roll this profit into UFFC, a pioneering healthy fast food franchise operation headed by a former Dairy Queen exec and the visionary founder of Boston Chicken. All the pieces were in place for a Cinderella story, and a 70% return later, our subscribers got the happy ending we hoped for. turning your $58,600.10 into $99,620.17. Only 6 trades in, and you're just fingertips from earning 6 figures from your investments. Our next pick, WLOL, will get you there and then some. The watertight fundamentals of this East Asian shipping company were impossible for us to ignore. The result? A 117% return in only 8 pulse-pounding days. Now you're firmly into new home territory because your $99,620.17 just became $216,244.08. 2 more trades to go, and you'll want to hang on tight because we're going to parlay this huge chunk of cash into shares of SIAF, a Chinese biotech spearheading new farming technology. Not the sexiest stock in the world, that's for sure. But why would that matter when it's handing you a 133.3% return in the middle of a job-killing recession? A return that just turned your $216,244.08 into $504,569.10. Needless to say, life's looking pretty sunny about now. You almost need to pinch yourself to see if you're dreaming. Now your days are spent doing whatever you want, whenever you want to do it. Better yet, you're able to provide for your loved ones in the way you've always wanted to. But we still haven't reached the top of this mountain of money. GTRL is a company out of Torrance, California, and the brains behind a new ultra-efficient hybrid fuel cell system. When our subscribers learned their untold story, the timing couldn't have been better. But before I share what happens next, I want to make sure you know why Wall Street or the financial media will never alert you to these undervalued and overlooked companies. The big banks, who rule the markets with an iron fist, have zero control over the price of small cap stocks. Even if one catches their eye, their big order would skyrocket the share price, stealing their potential gains. So as far as they're concerned, stocks priced this cheaply don't even exist. And while investment banks lay off staff by the dozen, the truth they want buried is this: they can't even track the big blue chip stocks as closely as they'd like to. One hedge fund manager recently admitted his analysts can really only track 35 stocks at a time. And since the CNBCs of the world follow the big banks around like lovesick puppies, no TV show will get you closer to knowing the ticker symbol of the next lottery ticket stock about to make early movers rich. But that's why Frank and I decided to pool our talents and our resources and work as one. It's only getting harder for regular investors to grow their money. To make headway, you need an unfair advantage at work for you, a thumb on the scale in your favor. And that's exactly what we feel we're giving you by forging this unrivaled coalition. Week after week, we combine our knowledge and expertise to bring you the first and final word in penny stock research and recommendations. We scour the small cap minefield to bring you the next Hewlett-Packard, FedEx, Burger King, or Hyatt hotels. Companies who were all founded in deep, never-ending recessions like the one we're in now. And we pass along our exclusive investing intel to you in simple, common-sense English. No jargon, no complicated investing theory to understand. After our stock makes it through our exhaustive analysis, we bring it to you with a clear and compelling case for why you should invest with confidence. We've even put together an easy-to-follow quick start guide that's yours to download with our compliments as soon as you enroll below. So, when you get our next pick, which could be only days or even just hours away, you'll know exactly what to do when you get it. Okay, let's head back to our timeline and wrap up our unfinished business. As you recall, you just put $504,569.10 of profit into GTRL. 4 days later, this future tech giant soared 111.76%, making you a certified member of the Investing Millionaire Club, because that investment just became a windfall of $1,068,499.15. Even after we take out $80 to cover all your trading fees, even after you take your whole family to Hawaii for a month-long vacation, you're still left with a 7-figure bank balance. And it all began, don't forget, with a single $5 bill you might have sitting in your wallet right now. As I made clear before, I've walked you through this trading timeline to demonstrate the investing firepower of our stock picks, although this is clearly just a hypothetical scenario. Keep in mind that it is based on actual picks made by Frank and myself in chronological order. Now, I should tell you that our first thought was to ask only $97 a month to maintain a subscription to our Dream Team picks. If you don't see the value that represents, you may have been distracted as I rattled off one documented triple-digit return after another. At $97 a month, one single winning trade could cover your monthly subscription for not just months, but for the rest of your life. But with the economy the way it is, the last thing we want is for you to hesitate in taking advantage of our teaming up because of price concerns. We're in the business of erasing money worries, not creating them. And I want to be fully transparent about our own intentions here. We're looking to amass the biggest and most loyal subscriber base in stock picking history. So, here's what we've decided to do to make that happen. In exchange for us handing you our picks on a silver platter week after week, all we're asking in return is for your first monthly payment of $97. Then, to make it even easier for you to join us today, we want to give you not only the rest of the coming year on the house, but every year after that too. That's right, a single one-time payment of $97 and you get all our picks this year, next year, and every year thereafter. Heck, that's a lousy quarter per day for the next 12 months. Literally, we're talking parking meter money. And if that's not generous enough, I'm also pleased to tell you that you can join us with absolutely no risk to you. We want you to try our service out before you make your final choice as to whether we're the only guys who can change your financial destiny forever. So, we're giving you a full 2-month test drive to do exactly that. There's no risk to you during these 8 weeks because if you prefer, you can paper trade our picks for as long as you like. Paper trading simply means until you see what you're missing out on, you can track the prices of our picks risk-free without investing any real money. However, you've seen how our picks can spike in price in a matter of hours and days, so you may not want to paper trade for long. It's tough watching your pennies collect dust as everyone else's turn into $100 bills. That said, you must remain over the moon about your decision to join us, or a simple email anytime in the next 60 days will return you your tiny one-time investment, no questions asked. Frank and I are ready to help you become a smarter, wiser, more knowledgeable investor. You get this unfair advantage through our prized penny picks as you decide where to put your money to see the kind of blockbuster returns you deserve. You know those returns aren't in blue chip stocks that had their day in the sun long ago. You know that unless you can commit the time to master the complexities of Forex, options, or day trading, the returns won't be there. And you also know what you've seen today throughout this entire presentation. Double and triple digit gains that can't be found anywhere else in the financial universe right now. Naturally, if you're content to get your stock tips from taxi drivers, neighbors, or friends at the office, well, that's up to you. It's your money and it's your future to shape how you want. Just don't blame us when you're still struggling to stay afloat years from now, haunted by dreams of what might have been if you just joined us today 100% risk-free. These days, the biggest risk of all is doing nothing. We have close to 3% inflation in the United States, meaning your cash is being robbed of 3% of its value every year. But compare losing 3% of your money each year to the laundry list of documented returns you've seen today. You missed out on those plays, but you don't have to miss out any longer. We're putting the final touches on some major picks right now. When we serve them up, you can be there to receive them, but only if you choose to test drive this ultimate investment experience starting right now. Imagine never being plagued by what could have been ever again. Imagine you being the one with the inside track for once, the person who finally has the scales tipped in your favor time and time again. I hope we've given you every reason to get on board without delay. So go ahead. Our next picks will be unleashed very soon. Join our dream team now by clicking the button below. Still there? Good. Because I want you to know that we've taken the admittedly extreme measure of using pen names in this presentation. We've been forced to take this necessary action because we want to give every minute of our workday to finding you the next small cap superstars about to surge in price. And we simply can't do that unless we're able to guard our time from a financial press who already smell a great story in the making. Recently, we've had to reject the advances of Bloomberg, CNBC, and Fox Business to have enough time to help average investors like Jeff, who writes to tell us, "Thanks for the awesome LOCM pick. I made $1,000 off of $5,000. And Polly writes to say, "I just sold my GRO at $1.04. That means I made $400 profit. I can't believe it. This is my first trade with you, and I am very happy. Thank you so much. My family and those people whom I serve, local community homeless men and women, can really use this money thanks to you." Dawn writes, "I invested $1,000 this morning at 10 cents a share, and it's already gained 19.9%. And Glenn wanted us to know, "You certainly were right on the money with UPZS. An unbelievable day for this stock, peaking out at 29 cents and settling at 21 cents. I'm very impressed with this pick and wanted to thank you for the excitement. Thank you again, and I look forward to your next great pick." That's just a snapshot